So just so you know, public meetings needs to be recorded. So I apologize that I did not have those questions recorded. I did my introduction. Again, want to thank everybody on behalf of the Ventura River Watershed Council. I am part of the Ventura County Resource Conservation District, but at these meetings, I wear a different hat, and that would be that of the Watershed Council. Very happy to have been selected as the coordinator for the Ventura River Watershed Council. This is a hybrid meeting, so it's both in person and virtual. So again, appreciate everybody joining. Because of the sort of mixed format of the meeting, however, it does present some logistic issues. So I appreciate your patience as we work through those. Want to point out that the Watershed Council meetings are held every Thursday, or every other Thursday, just about 9 a.m. here at the Oakview Park and Resource Center. This is the one off Mahoney Avenue. So if anybody's interested in attending in person, please note it's the off Mahoney Avenue. It's not the other community center here in Oakview. And let's, wow. Oh, very good, thank you.
Get rid of your waiting.
Yeah, I thought I had done that. I just saw one. Yeah. Okay. All right, Brian, I see that you have a hand up. I'm going to go ahead and you can unmute yourself and actually speak. You can also put yourself on camera.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me? Good. Thought it was unmuted.
Hi, Brian.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I just wanted to I apologize. I was just getting my getting tuned in here, but I wanted to say that Saturday, October 14th at 9 a.m. Ventura County Public Works is sponsoring a walk in the watershed, and that is at the trailhead at Old Baldwin Road. And registration's at 8 to be coffee and little goodies, and then there's going to be different individuals there hosting a walk along the watershed through that area. And I just wanted to give the heads up to the group, because obviously all of you are invited, and maybe some of you are already participating. But I'm with Supervisor Matt Levere's office, and we're coordinating that with Public Works. So just wanted to get just a reminder. I think it's been on a newsletter and everything else going out, but just wanted to give you that reminder. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that update. And that's a wonderful segue. I'm going to go ahead and share a screen real quick. We hadn't forgot about that, actually. So I did want to make sure to. Okay, I'm not even seeing that on my screen.
Thank you for bearing with us, everyone.
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mason. We're getting in our steps today. Okay, so I want to run through some events and notices in October. Thank you for bringing up the District 1 Watershed Walk. So that's October 14th. It's at the Old Baldwin Trailhead. I think it starts around 9 o'clock in the morning. But please do, you can reach out to contact here with Ventura. Brian sounds like a good contact for that as well. And you can always reach out to us, specifically Heidi with Watershed Council, because we will be there representing the council. And I believe we'll also have staff from the Resource Conservation District there separately representing our organization.
And just to add to that, pre-registration is optional, but encouraged. So
cool.
Feel free to bring family and friends and just show up.
I was not able to find a link to register.
It's the only, let's see, the easiest way I can describe how to register, because registration just opened.
Okay.
Is publicworks.org. I believe it's under, there's a tab for like events or news. And then there should be a flyer with the link, takes you to a registration page.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll work through that. We'll get those links together and we're going to post those in the chat when we take a break. All right, want to move through because we are wanting to get to some presentations, but just real quick, October 24th, please be aware Farm Bureau is having an agritech fair. The theme here is connecting professionals, farmers, researchers, and technology. There's also going to be an update on the region for waste discharge requirement. So that's the new ag order. And so that'll be of interest to everybody who's interested in water quality. So again, we're going to post links to all of these things into the chat when we take our break. But I want to move through them quickly so that you have some context for what they're about. October 24th through 26th, there's going to be a wildfire conference. So this is the California Wildfire Conference. It's Ronald Reagan Library in Simi Valley. So it's not in our watershed, but wildfire doesn't respect any watershed boundaries. So I urge you to attend. The theme there is understanding, preventing, and recovering from wildfires. We'll post a link to that registration event during the break. If you're interested in how other watersheds conduct business and what their issues, challenges, and solutions are, then please consider attending the Santa Clara River Watershed Committee meeting. That's hybrid as well, so you can join online or you can also join in person at the United Water Conservation District's headquarters in Oxnard. That's October 26th. And then I also do want to make sure farmers and ranchers, or just in general, agricultural producers are aware that the Ventura County Resource Conservation District was selected as a recipient for the California Department of Food and Agriculture State Water Efficiency and Enhancement Program, as well as the Healthy Soils Program. So if you are a farmer, if you are a rancher, if you are an agricultural producer, or if you know somebody who is any of those, then please make sure to let them know that if they have a project that saves water and energy, and if they want to build healthy soils, please, they need to get on our contact list. We have a resource concern form that can be filled out that'll put you in the queue for consideration for your projects. And again, we'll post that link. And if anybody here or online wants to post a notice or provide some information, then please, we'll give you a link to get to Heidi's email so that you can get that to her. And there was a question in the audience.
Oh, thank you. I'm Matilija Dam with the Casitas Municipal Water District, and all of this reminded me, and I can send this information to you as well, that Casitas is hosting our annual water security tours, which is a tour of Casitas Dam and the robust diversion and fish passage facility. Also in October. So that's October, the last Saturday in October, which I believe is October 20th, from 9 to 12 in the morning. And then also the first Saturday in November, November 4th, from 9 to 12. So there's a lot of events going on this fall, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The High Day is on October 21st, I believe. So we'll have a booth there as well.
Awesome. Thank you. So we'll get links to information for those who are interested in pursuing them or want to pass that information on along to someone who might be interested during break. So please stay in attendance and we'll get that information to you at a later point in today's meeting. With that, I would like to switch gears and let someone else's voice be heard. So moving through the agenda, we were a bit late. I apologize for that. But the first thing that we have past the welcome is feedback on Matilija Dam field trip. And this is Laura.
So, good morning, everyone. My name is Laura Schellenbarger. I work with Ventura County Watershed Protection District in our environmental services group now. You may remember me from being the coordinator for the Santa Clara River Watershed over the past years, and I'm happy to have passed the baton to Resource Conservation District and Heidi at the Resource Conservation District. And this means I get to work on other exciting projects, equally exciting, including Matilija Dam Ecosystem Restoration Project. So I'm just here today to let you know that we're there's been more recent activities on that project, and we are gearing up to do some community engagement and outreach on that. We just recently sent out letters to property owners that are neighboring the Ventura River, whose properties could be directly impacted by dam removal. So if you have received a letter, we're inviting those property owners to one-on-one listening sessions as a first step in a series of meetings and discussions to connect and discuss, collaborate on concerns that they may have. So if you received one of those letters, please respond to that, to set up a meeting. And then more importantly, I'm here today to invite the Ventura River Watershed Council to join us on a tour for the Matilija Dam in December. We've been talking with Heidi about a plan and coming up with, I think, what is a good option. And that is, we're proposing coming here, meeting at this location to give probably about an hour briefing and presentation on the many components of Matilija Dam Ecosystem Restoration Project. Since there are many locations that are going to be impacted and a lot of projects that go into making, preparing for the actual dam removal. So we can talk about that, and then we would load up into buses or vans that we provide and head up to the dam site to spend another probably hour there on site to take a look at the current conditions and discuss how the dam will be removed and what the impacts are, some of those continued impacts downstream, and in the immediate adjacent area up there, so you can kind of see that firsthand of what it looks like right now. And we can discuss all the progress we've made so far and the road ahead. So we're proposing to have that tour on Thursday, December 14th. And I believe after talking to Heidi, this will be in place of having a watershed council meeting in December. I know that the council normally meets December 7th, would be the next regular meeting. However, we actually are proposing to have our notice of preparation scoping meeting for Matilija Dam Ecosystem Restoration Project on that same day, December 7th, down at the Ventura County Government Center. So we will also be sharing a notice about that through the Watershed Council to those that are interested in attending that scoping meeting on the prior Thursday. So I'm here to find out if you have interest in this idea for a tour on December 14th, and if maybe a show of hands, and if you have any feedback or any questions that I can address now, we'll probably be asking for RSVPs more for the purpose of getting a head count and making sure we have vehicle space prepared for everybody that are interested in attending. So we'd be asking Heidi to send out a RSVP link or some sort of pre-registration option. But all those that are interested are welcome to attend. So yeah, any feedback, any show of hands on who would be interested and is able to come on that day, potentially. All right, I'm seeing a lot of hands here and online.
Online.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that sounds like everyone's on board, excited. Yay, field trip.
Yeah. Exactly. I think that the opportunity to get out.
How many people, I'm just curious, how many people have been to the dam site? Like, actually, yeah. Okay, so quite a few have already been there. So.
Absolutely.
All right. Oh, and then just one other update, matilijadam.org, our website for the project has been updated recently and will continue to actually have some pretty significant updates to it. So please check back there regularly. You can see under the notices and highlights on the main page on matilijadam.org that they're actually, we have been posting events like the annual Walk in the Watershed event is up on there. And there is some more information about those notices that went out to property owners that could be directly impacted. So we are actively working on getting that website up to date, and you might see some changes in the logo design and some other information and materials that we're preparing. So it's all been very exciting. We're excited. We're looking forward to talking more with you about it.
Cool. We have a question. Yes. Hi, Dana.
Hello. So I had a quick question, just to introduce myself, Dana Barrios. I'm the former chairwoman for the Barbareño Ventureño Band of Mission Indians. And I was
Love your tattoo. Sorry.
and I was wondering if we could possibly get a tour for the Chumash community. I think it would be really great to have some tribal members out there, and that's just specifically for the Chumash and Native community here in Ventura. I know it's a really big deal to have this dam removed, and it'll really bring a lot of life to some of our animal relatives, and it'll just be beautiful on so many levels. And I know that my tribe would probably like to be involved in multiple ways, and not just my tribe, but the Native community in general. So it'd be really awesome if we could do something like that.
Well, thank you so much for bringing that up, Dana. I don't believe you and I have ever met, so I'm also happy to meet you via Zoom. And if you were here in person, I'd say let's talk more after, but we'll have to connect outside of this meeting. And you brought up a very good point, and I just want you to know that we are definitely been discussing much more heavily than we have in the past, how to engage meaningfully with the Native tribes and our Native community here. And that's something that we are working on. And I guess just for now, I'll say that definitely would like to reach out and schedule a tour. That is something we can do. So we'll figure out a time that works best and make that happen. I'm happy to take that feedback back. I think that was something we had on our list, and it just hasn't yet been, that initial contact hasn't been made. I know that we have had a tour in the past. We have gone up to the dam site, but it's been a few years to discuss that with members of the tribal community. So, or maybe, I'm not sure exactly when, I just know that it has happened. And since I'm newer to the project, I don't have that history. But thank you so much for bringing that up. And we will be working actually on a much more comprehensive engagement strategy specific to tribes.
Awesome. Well, if you need any assistance with that, please let me know. And yeah, we can connect later. Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, we have a question from David.
Hi. Let's see if my video will start. Hi, good morning, everyone. I wanted to follow up on Dana's question. I'm David White, and I work with the crew, and the crew has a permit to do dam visits. And I have a group up there doing weed abatement this morning. But we also did take Matthew Vestuto up there a couple of weeks ago, who's the chairman of the Ventureño Barbareño Mission Indian band. And we'd be happy to help coordinate a tour up there if that is easier or more straightforward to do. So I can certainly share with Dana my contact information.
Awesome. Thank you. We had another question from Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello. Hopefully you can see me. My internet's been a little spotty. Hi, we are, I'm Elizabeth Burns from Southern Steelhead Coalition, also Caltrout, and we would also love to be a part of this and help out any way we can. I know Russell Marlowe, my supervisor, has been working a lot with Matilija stuff, so please reach out to us, and we'd love to be a part of this in any way we can, whether boosting or advertising or whatever you need, or planning it. We'd love to be a part of this, so please reach out to me. I'm sure he would be stoked to have this activity.
Thank you. Well, we hope all of you will be able to attend the December 14th meeting, and stay tuned for further information. Check back on the website. I think we will be creating a way to sign up for alerts as well. And we do plan to be speaking a lot more about Matilija in the next year.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura, for the update. And thank you, everyone, for participating with questions. Was there another question?
Yeah, I have one more. You had mentioned that some documentation went out to landowners near the Ventura River, adjacent to the river, concerning effects of dam removal or potential. Is that on the website somewhere?
Yes, so you can see a post about that on MatilijaDam.org. And I believe there's a link there as well to try to schedule a meeting. Just keep in mind they are right now specific to a list of property owners that potential impacts. So feel free to look that up on the website. I mean the information about this system.
This is why Matilija Dam meetings are their own meetings, because there's so much interest. No, it's awesome. I love it. But we do have an agenda to try to stick to schedule in completion. And so if there are no other questions, I want to move forward. If there are questions, please feel free to post those to chat, and we'll get those over to Laura so that she can give you a response. But Muriel, I believe, is waiting online to share her presentation. Muriel is going to talk about the Ventura County Tree Coalition Oaktober events. So Muriel, are you ready?
Hey, David. Yes, I am. I am ready. Sorry, Jamie. Let me share my screen.
Awesome.
Can you all see this?
Yes.
Great. Let me just start my video. Here we go. Hi, everyone. I'm Morel. I work for the County of Ventura Sustainability Division, which is housed under the County Executive Office. Our Sustainability Division focuses on 3 main programs. The first one being a Ventura County Regional Energy Alliance, which is this joint power agreement with public agencies, and we assist public agencies, cities, local businesses on right now a lot of energy efficient projects, and been doing a lot of electric vehicle infrastructure projects. We also have our Tri-County Regional Energy Network, which is in collaboration with Santa Barbara County and San Luis Obispo County. And we work on workforce development, as well as providing programs to residents for reducing their building emissions. And so we provide programs for under-resourced communities for them to switch over from gas powered to electric appliances, as well as teaching contractors, building professionals on how to create those practices there in buildings. And then what I work on is our county's climate action plan. So we oversee our county's climate action plan, which is a part of our general plan that was adopted in 2020. And that involves all county agencies, and that has programs having to do with GHG emission reductions, as well as climate adaptation, as well as a lot of policies that ask for more collaborative work being done to have Ventura County adapted climate change. And so this is why we created our VC Tree Coalition. So our VC Tree Coalition was formed in early 2022, and it's this network of community organizations, nonprofits, land trust, municipalities, and like-minded groups. We're all working to enhance our Ventura County's tree canopy. And yes, we're formed because we know this isn't something that is a singular issue. It has to be worked collaboratively and has to have a range of diverse stakeholders. So that's a list of some people we work with. We have this email listserv. So if you're interested in joining, let me know. And we reach out to city agencies, other agencies within our county, other nonprofits, CBOs, so on. Some of the projects we've worked on, so we've applied to grants together for CAL FIRE grants, county grants, some smaller grants like the California Clean Air Day grant that just passed, and that's been occurring for the past few years. Wildlife Conservation Board grants. So really taking advantage that all the knowledge that our organizations have and different projects that are going on and seeing how we can leverage those to apply for future grants. We've also hosted events. So the one I'm talking about today is Oaktober, but we've also done California Clean Air Day events and Arbor Earth Day events that happen in March, early April. And currently we're working on this tree inventory tool. So how can we see where we're planting our trees and how the quality of these trees are doing so that we can measure the impact of our coalition. So again, if you're interested in joining, there's that link there. I'll put it there on the chat for Jamie to share out. Or you can also email me that you're interested in joining. And if you want to learn more about our coalition, we have this page under our sustainability website that tells you more about us, and then also other efforts our sustainability division and other county agencies are doing. So Oaktober, what is Oaktober? So this is the second year that the VC Tree Coalition has hosted Oaktober events across the county. Oaktober was launched by the Chicago Region Trees Initiative in 2015. And actually, Dr. David White, who's here today, brought the event to Ventura County in 2020. And as of last year, our county now recognizes October as Oak Awareness Month. And we like to coin it as Oaktober. So some of the events we have or going on this year is all there. As you can see, it's happening all across the county, from Newberry Park to Camarillo to Ventura and Ojai. We have events going on starting as of yesterday all the way to early November. So there's a lot of opportunities to join in. The Oaktober events aren't just focused on oak trees. It has to do with a wider range of activities involving from environmental education to planting trees that aren't just oak trees, to there's a speaker series. So there's a lot of different engagements that you can be a part of. And if you can't attend, we're asking people to be involved in other ways, as simple as, getting to know about the history of Oaktober, or itself going an oak woodland and taking on a walk or something of that sort, so that you immerse yourself in the festivities of October. And those events happening in the Ventura River Watershed, as you can see here. The first one's coming up actually tomorrow with Oktoberfest. David was here on the call, can tell you more about that. That's an event happening with Taft Gardens. Yes, so quite a few events happening up there in Ojai, as we see in Ventura. And yeah, so if you're interested in those, please check out this website. So again, it's also in our county's website. It gives more information about the events happening, as in location. If you need to register for some of them, such as the one for Taft Gardens, and description of the event, and if there's anything that you need to bring. Besides that, that's all. Are there any questions? And I'll put the links there in the chat so that you all can know more and join the VC Tree Coalition if that's of interest.
Just want to note, Dave did drop a link to Once Upon a Watershed in the chat for those who are interested. Morel, is reaching out to you the best way if there are events that we think October Fest or Oaktoberfest people would be interested in learning about? Are you the best contact to get that information to get posted?
Yes, if you have events yourself they would like to post, yes, we could put them there, and I'm the best person to contact. And if you want to know more about the events, if you have questions, yes, you can contact me and I can refer you to anyone, the lead organizers, if I can't answer any of them.
Awesome. Yeah, we've partnered on a number of things, so it's been a wonderful collaboration. Appreciate that, Morel. Any other questions, either in person or online? All right. Well, again, if you have any questions that you come up with, please feel free to post those in the chat. I think Morel probably will hang out for a little while, and if not, we can always get those questions over to her. So thank you, Morel. Appreciate that. We're going to switch gears a little bit. Looks like we have a in-person presentation that we're going to be able to enjoy. So I'm going to invite Jennifer Trudeau with Ventura Water up, and she's going to discuss Midtown to West Side Interconnect project, provide an update on that. Yeah, it is yours. I think it's already on there. Okay.
Okay, good morning. Looks different over here, so.
Yeah, it looks
Okay,
different on
all
that.
right. Good morning, I'm Jennifer Trudeau, with the City of Ventura Water, Water Resources Manager. We have a few projects going on in the city plan to make our water supplies more sustainable. So we have a couple presentations today on two of those projects that are in construction. So Heidi asked us to come here today and give you guys a little bit of update. The first one is the less exciting of the two projects. And it's pretty much a basic, pretty boring pipeline construction project, but I'm gonna go over some details of that. So it's our Ventura East to West Interconnection Project. And it's actually composed of two projects, the east side to Midtown phase, and then the Midtown to West Side phase. And the Midtown to West Side phase is the one that's currently under construction. So I'm going to focus on discussion of that today. The goals of the two phases are the same, just the construction's separate. So this is the overview of the project. And it's primarily installing some new pipelines, repurposing a pump station to a pressure reducing station, and enabling us to move water in the opposite direction that we normally move water. Let me show you here. So as you see here, so our major water supply sources, the city was started on the west end and built its way east. And so our major water supplies have historically been surface water supplies from Lake Casitas and the Ventura River. As the city developed eastward, we developed groundwater supplies in the Mound Basin, Santa Paula Basin, Oxnard Plain Basin. And so we generally have always, if water has needed to move between sources throughout the city, it's moved from west to east. But now with continued droughts and climate change issues, we're seeing stresses to our surface water supplies and a need to have the ability to move water from the east end to the west end. And we also have our two water supply projects coming online in the future, the Ventura Water Pure Project and the State Water Interconnection Project that will bring water supplies into the east side. And so this will also, while the primary purpose is to move existing water supplies, it will also help move the new water supplies as well. So like I said, the objectives are to move water from the east side to the west side and improve our water supply reliability. And that will help us to minimize our usage of Lake Casitas and the river when necessary. So just the schedule, like I said, we're in construction right now. Construction started in August, early September, and it's going to last about a year for this phase. It's all along, mostly along Telegraph Road, so there's been some traffic impacts, but there's let's see, there's been I'll talk a little bit about the outreach that went into that, and the signage on the previous slide, and then some construction photos. So for costs, it's about an $11 million project, and then we did get a grant from the Integrated Resource Regional Watershed Management Grant, of $2 million, which is going to increase a little bit more to 2.5 with some recent changes to that program. But otherwise, it's funded through our CIP program with our rates. Like I said, it's in Telegraph Road, so there are construction impacts, mostly doing night work, and the public information outreach plan. There's information on our website. We sent out postcards. There's signage along Telegraph Road, and as residents are impacted through the construction project with different phases of the project, we'll be sending out notices to them as well. So just a picture of some of the pipeline work, and that's pretty much it. So that's our update. If there's any questions. Yes.
So that schedule that you mentioned was for Midtown to the west side. That wasn't for the other phase.
Yeah, phase 2 is finishing up design, and we'll I think be ready to go into construction next year. It's just a matter of timing the construction impacts and making sure we're not having too many things going at once, but that'll be going starting up next year.
Okay. So right now, we're running water from the west side of Midtown, from Casitas. You also mentioned surface water from the Ventura River.
Yeah, so we have our wells on the Ventura River that pump groundwater under the influence of surface water. So those supplies, while technically groundwater, are under the availability is influenced by surface water available.
And then the pipeline that's going from east to west.
Yeah.
What are the sources for that?
So currently, it'll be their groundwater supply. So it's primarily, it'll be for emergencies, for outages, times when both Ventura River and Lake Casitas are offline and we need to serve the west side area. We can move water west, but not to the degree that we would like to if we had a full outage of both sources. And so that'll be from the current groundwater supplies, primarily from probably from the Oxnard Plain Basin, primarily, but Mound Basin and Santa Paula there as well. So both, all those will be able to move water west. And then when Ventura Water Pier comes online, that water will be able to move west through that system. And then when we have state water deliveries, we'll also utilize that when necessary. So,
okay. So the volume that's going to be delivered, that's based on what's available. West to east. Is there a number that's been established for roughly?
So this pipeline size, there's 16-inch and 24-inch pipelines. I don't have those details. But we have done modeling to know like how much water we need to move west. It's based on the demands for the system. So you know, our total city demand right now is I think we're down around 12 to 13,000 acre feet per year. So it'd be, you know, moving about a third probably of that water from east to west.
And one last one, was there a cost associated per acre foot?
I don't have those numbers.
No problem.
Yep. Yes.
To the extent that there's water that the city of Ventura, the other ones leaking through. there may be another opportunity to follow up on how other projects in the watershed are working towards a shared counting and understanding what it means for the city of Ventura to conserve water and leave water in the piggy bank. And I know that there's always pressure to make those supplies go farther, but it might be a way to magnify those net savings by multiple ways.
Looking online to see if there's any questions. I'm not seeing any hands up. Again, if you have a question for Jennifer, please be sure to raise your hand so we can identify you. Yeah, another question. Yes.
How many treatment plants does City of Ventura have, and how does the water work for this system?
So we have one treatment plant that's on the west side that treats the water from the river. And then we have two conditioning facilities, one on towards the east end of town, Bailey, and then the static water conditioning plant on the far east.
So all the water has to go to one of the conditioning, either Bailey or the east side?
The groundwater comes through the conditioning plants. So the service, the Ventura River water comes through the Avenue treatment plant, and the groundwater goes through the conditioning plants.
So the water that comes out of like the Oxnard plant has to go all the way up to the Bailey treatment plant. That feeds into the cycle.
Yes, correct.
All right. Not seeing any other questions, so I think we'll move on to the next speaker. But again, if you have any questions that you come up with, please feel free to drop those into the chat. We'll address them.
I have one question.
Oh, Laura.
Just thought of a question.
Perfect.
In terms of, I was thinking about in resiliency, you know, disasters and such, are these, since this is also, there's a benefit in having that east-west connection, but it requires pumping, right? And I was just wondering, in the like if there's a electricity loss, like are there backup generators? Is that part of the overall service of the system?
Yeah, that's been a separate project where we have installed generators at I think all of our pump stations, and that's been an ongoing project over the last 5 years that's been going through. I think it's pretty much completed, but yes, we have backup generators on site. Most of them are on site, and some of them are designated that have to be mobile. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple of places where there's just not space for those, but where there is space, they've been installed.
Another question.
Yeah, one last one. It said that the lines being replaced, there's two different flow directions. There's east to west and west to east. So is the same line going to be used for both directions, or is there an additional line you put in?
Yeah, I believe the way it works, I should have brought I didn't bring my engineer to this meeting. That it works through the pressure reducing stations and the pump station. So it's a matter of changing the direction of the supply, the water flow when it's necessary. So as demands, yeah, so it's one line.
All right, well, that looks like it's the last of the questions that I can see here in person. I don't see any additional questions online. I did have the presence of mind to glance at the agenda, and it does actually look like there's a break that we're supposed to take from 9:45 to 10 o'clock. We're almost at that. So I'm going to go ahead and say, let's take a break for just about 5 minutes. We'll be back with our next speaker. That'll be Linda, again with Ventura Water. And that'll be at 10 o'clock. So let's meet back here at 10 o'clock, top of the hour, and we'll get started with that presentation. Thank you.
I just saw.
All right, well, apologize about that. I ran a minute late, but we're going to be settling down here and moving to our next presenter. All right, guys, it's time. Sorry, herding cats here in person. All right. So as I said before the break, and welcome back, everybody. Appreciate your patience and you sticking with us. We're going to hear from Linda Szymanski. Okay, thank you. And Linda's with Ventura Water. She's going to discuss the Ventura Water Pure Program update. This, I think, is to coincide with the Midtown West Side Interconnection Project we just heard about with Jennifer. So take it away, Linda. Thank you.
So thanks for having me. As Jason said, I'm Linda Szymanski, and I'm the Ventura Water Pure Program Director. So we're really happy to be here and share where we are in this program. So for those of you who may not be familiar, Ventura Water Pure is the City of Ventura's project. We're going to recover, treat, and then reuse the water that we're currently discharging to the Santa Clara River estuary from our reclamation plant.
Sorry. I don't think it's shared.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Okay, we seem to be having some technical difficulties. Okay. Here we go. Share. Okay. I apologize about that. It wasn't sharing and I didn't notice until too late. Yeah. Yeah, down at the bottom. Oh, the wrong one.
Projector is connected to you or to
The projector is here to this laptop.
To that one?
Yeah, that's why this one is to show. So.
So just go to like present within PowerPoint.
Well, let me kill this. This is the one that's, it's still up.
So within your PowerPoint app. Just you'll have to drag your that guy over. Oh. You get a longer break. Did everybody find where the restroom is? You're also obviously, you don't have to go during break. Okay. It's by the tree painting.
So, okay, now you should be able to
Okay.
start over or.
Okay, let's go back to that.
Too busy chatting, not paying attention to text, sorry.
Alrighty, so yeah, we're currently discharging from our reclamation plant to the Santa Clara River estuary. And what we're going to do is divert that water and create a locally owned source of water that's going to be independent from rainfall. So just an overall timeline for the project. I won't get into all the details that are on this slide, but we have been working at this for a long time. You can see that in 2008, we actually started the project During the renewal of our NPDES permit, we were sued so that we would stop the discharge to the estuary. And we actually settled with the folks, with our now consent decree partners in 2011. And since that time, we've been working through various studies and looking at, just pre-design type of things to get this project moving, getting permits, all of that. The actual goal here is to actually stop the diversion to the estuary by the end of 2025. And actually what we're going to do during that, before that time, is reduce the discharge to the estuary. This is a two-phase project, so that we can, after the first phase where we reduce the discharge, look at the impact on the estuary to make sure that what we've studied and what we think is going to happen truly is happening. After that point, assuming that everything is going on that we think is going to, then we will actually go into a second phase where we will reduce the discharge a little further. So like I said, by the end of 2025, we're going to actually divert the water out of the estuary. By 2027, we will be able to use all of that water through an advanced water treatment plant to create that source of water. And then hopefully by the end of 2032, which is based on our study timeframe, we hopefully will be diverting more water from the estuary. So when we get to the end of the second phase, we hope to be producing about 20% of Ventura's water, up to 5,400 acre-feet per year. So the way this works is currently we're taking the wastewater from the community and treating it at our reclamation plant. We are treating it to a tertiary level, which coincides with what most folks may think of as purple pipe water that you use to water landscape, and in some cases, folks will use it for toilet flushing. So it is highly treated water already. Right now, we're discharging to the Santa Clara River estuary, and the goal is to build the advanced treatment plant. So we will take that tertiary treated water, treat it further to the regular drinking water standards. From there, we're going to do indirect potable reuse, which means that we're going to take that water and put it into the groundwater. There it will have a travel time and kind of an extra buffer for treatment. From there, it would be withdrawn from the groundwater, just like we currently do, going to our water conditioning plants and then distributed to the community. So you can see we're basically recycling water. We're not counting on any rainfall or anything like that. And then the one other piece that I want to point out here is from the advanced water treatment plant, if many of you have a reverse osmosis treatment under your sink, you know that you don't get all of the water through that reverse osmosis. You have a portion of it that is reject. Well, it will be the same at our advanced treatment plant, just on a much larger scale. And so we do need some place for that to go. And so as part of this, we will be building an ocean outfall so that we can discharge that water. So on the map, this is a better look at where things actually are. So a good portion of this is near our current reclamation plant, which is down on Harbor Boulevard, closer to the Oxnard line. So we will be doing some upgrades at our reclamation plant. The advanced water plant is actually, the property across the street was purchased by the city, and that will be used to build the advanced plant. Then we'll have a pipeline that goes out to the well area we're going to inject. And the idea is to recover that water at our current groundwater, where we currently get our groundwater from at our golf course wells. So, and then you can see in the purple area here, that's the area for the outfall pipeline. So I'm just going to run through the four major components of the project, and there's a little bit of the timing of where we are in these slides also. But at our reclamation plant, we are actually not part of the Ventura Water Pure program, but associated with it and being conducted by the Ventura Water Pure team. We're going to do some upgrades. And what we found in our wastewater master plan is that some of our infrastructure was needing to be upgraded and kind of reaching the end of its useful life. So very useful for the advanced water plant. We'll be changing out the processing. We'll be putting something in called membrane bioreactor. It's the same type of treatment that we do now, but instead we're going to be using membranes rather than just regular filters. This gives us a cleaner water and improves the quality. So if for some reason we do need to discharge to the estuary, if the plant is down, then we have cleaner water that meets very low nitrogen levels to discharge. So we're going to be doing this inside of the footprint of our current plant. You can kind of see on the picture here, kind of the colored areas. That is the proposed area for all of the new processes. Once that's done, then what you see kind of in the zoomed in picture on the top will actually go away. That's the current processing that we have. So that will go away and that will become land that's available for other things. So we're currently at 30% design on this, and we're actually, we also have engaged the contractor at this point. We're doing something called construction manager at risk. It's a little different than what you usually see, which is design, bid, and then build. This allows us to have the contractor on board to give us ideas, to work with them, and help to potentially mitigate a lot of the changes that may come up during construction. We can look at those now. And so right now they're on a pre-construction contract, so we're not actually building anything. They're walking through design with us so that we can work together and how to make this best work, because we're building this as our plant is currently running. So.
Can I jump in and say that your slides aren't sharing?
At 60% design by the end of the year. And we are hoping that probably in the springtime, we will actually be able to get a guaranteed maximum price from our contractor and starting to put together some of the construction that we need to do. For the advanced water purification plant, like I mentioned, this is across the street from our reclamation plant. We will be purifying our tertiary treated water to drinking water standards there. It is a greenfield site. Right now, if you were to drive past there, it looks like a field. And so it'll be a little bit easier for construction to be working on that type of site rather than trying to shoehorn things into a working plant. So right now, we're in the permitting stages for this. We will be submitting very shortly for our local coastal plan amendment, because this parcel was in the county and actually still is in the county. We need to bring it into the city, so we'll need to do an annexation for that. And then once we have all that done and we're a little further along in design, we'll actually be doing our coastal development permit. And right now we are in the process of a request for proposals for designers, and hopefully we'll have them on board in January. And what you see here, we've done a lot of work on, what we want this plant to be, because we would like it to be something that the community can actually come and learn about recycled water and, have that community outreach component. So we've done quite a bit of work on visioning and what we want to include in that. So what you see here is kind of just a very kind of mocked up idea of what we think it might look like. Caveated that, of course, it'll probably change. The outfall project that I mentioned, that's where we will be taking the reject water from the reverse osmosis and taking it to the ocean. That project is actually in construction right now. We need to divert the water from the estuary. That's going to happen before we have the reject from the advanced water treatment plant. So you can see in here, there's actually two portions to this project. We're currently building contract A, which is the portion that goes basically from the harbor area out into the ocean. If you're down around the Marina Park area, you'll notice that there's a nice big sound wall up there. We are working inside of that sound wall. We'll be installing the pipe that goes underneath the harbor, and we'll also be installing the pipe that goes out to the ocean from there. Then we will take that pipeline from the harbor area and put it in the roadway back to our reclamation plant. And that is a separate contract. It's a different type of work, and so that's why we divided it up. That is due to start in the January, February timeframe. And then both of them should be ending around the August timeframe. So this outfall, in addition to supporting, those regular flows that we'll have from the advanced plant, there are times when we have higher wet weather flows or that are coming through our wastewater plant. They'll be outside of the capacity of our advanced plant, so we'll also be discharging to the ocean at that time also. So, and I already kind of mentioned the time frame on that.
Sorry to interrupt. Someone online texted that just now, texted me that the slides are progressing on those on.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna, what I'm gonna do is terminate the share, and then we're gonna reshare. And then if there are questions, we can go to the slides.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then lastly, the last piece of this is the groundwater. And so right now we are looking, we're kind of finishing up a lot of our study stages on this. Our goal is to install the injection wells and monitoring wells that we'll need also in the Oxnard Plain Basin, which is a basin that we already use for water supply. So we've finished at this point our geochemical analysis, done some well performance studies, have done a couple of studies on leaching. So far, we have seen what we've seen is encouraging, and we think that the Oxnard Plain actually will serve our purposes. We're currently looking for well sites. We think we've identified one, and so we're going to be moving forward with that one, and progressing hopefully to a point where we can actually start designing for a demonstration well in February of 24. And that's it. That's all I had for the presentation. When we get the question slide back up, there is a QR code there. It takes you to the website for Ventura Water Pure, which has all of this information on it. Oh, there it is. Awesome.
Yeah, it's working just great on here, but not so much online. So. Okay, so let me see if. Okay. Okay. Okay.
It's working, but it's still showing the current slide.
Okay.
So that it just,
Yeah. So apologies about that. Unfortunately, for some reason, the Zoom just froze with one of the screens, one of the slides that Linda was discussing. So if there are any questions, what I'd like to do is be able to address that question in advance to that slide.
it's still frozen, so what I can do is just share from this computer for our future presenters, and if you want to pass them your jump button. We'll also just make the slides available.
Yeah, I'm happy to make the slides available. That's no problem.
Yeah, that was definitely a question that was asked, is to share the slides.
Absolutely.
So on your side, it is still frozen?
Membrane bioreactor.
Right. Right, but
As soon as it went full screen. So maybe it's just a problem with full screen,
okay.
then it takes it off of share.
Okay. All right, so we're going to, I don't see any questions. We'll make the slides available online so that, or to the, oh, yeah, we have a question.
Question, I wondered what are the criteria you're using to monitor the health of the estuary?
So we actually have a large-scale program. It's called the pre-construction assessment plan. There are a number of things, and that's a presentation all on its own that we may be able to talk our biologist into giving you guys, but we're looking at the species, the plants that are there, DO, temperature. They are doing some seining, all that type of stuff. And it's not my area of expertise, so I can't kind of give you all of the information, but we do have it online. And it is a large plan that has actually been blessed by a number of agencies. So we worked with the regional board on it. We've worked with our consent decree partners on it. Coastal Commission has a say in it. CDFW has been involved in working with us on it. So it's a large scale program, and we put out, we do basically quarterly monitoring and put out an annual report on it. And like I said, if you're interested, we can probably have that person come and give you a little bit more detail.
I'm just curious from the overall standpoint, you look at why do we have to take water out of the estuary?
It's actually, it's an improvement to returning kind of the river to its natural habitat, rather than having a forced fresh water put into there. And, you know, from what we've studied, it's actually beneficial to the estuary to return to that. It'll be, you know, it will encourage the natives that are there and probably be more helpful for the species that are there. And so that was the reason for, you know, one of the reasons for the lawsuit way back when in the first place. So, yeah.
I see that we have an online question from Paul.
Yeah, thanks for providing that overview. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the slides later. My question is how have you if you have considered climate change into your planning? Every time, pretty much every year, the IPCC comes out and increases the projections for sea level rise.
Yes.
We're looking at perhaps, 7 feet of sea level rise in the next century.
Yes. And so part of our designs as we're working through the process is actually to take the sea level rise into account. And so, for example, we're in design for the membrane bioreactor right now. What we're looking at is actually elevating some of the facilities so that, things that are not impacted and can still work during, flood or underwater are fine. But a lot of the things like our electrical are built so that they will be out of harm. So we are looking at that as we move forward. And actually, one of the conditions that we have in our coastal development permit for our outfall, and we will have one in our bioreactor coastal development permit. So
there, and also I think you can advance the slide if you would like to address a question or to make a point. I think that you had your hand up first, and then I think there was another hand up.
So the idea is to seize all of it by 24, 25 to cease all discharge to the estuary, right?
Well, we won't, we will be doing a partial reduction in discharge. Our studies actually show that, you know, the biggest benefit is to reduce down to about a 0 to 0.5 discharge. There is concern, you know, of what if it doesn't work the way the science is telling us? And so the way this was set up was to reduce it to a level and then look at the health of the estuary based on all the baseline data that we're taking right now and make sure that, you know, what we thought is going to happen is happening. And then if that's true, then we will move forward and reduce discharges further.
But not completely.
0 to 0.5. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So then the idea then is to not pull from the estuary to go to injection. It's to send water to injection without going to the estuary in the first place.
Yeah, so basically right now, after we're done treating to that tertiary level, it goes out to the estuary. What we do is divert that and take that flow and put it to our advanced plant.
Okay.
So
So it goes to the advanced plant,
Mhm.
it undergoes treatment, then it goes
Correct.
to injection,
correct,
and then
Yeah.
it goes to extraction.
correct.
And does it get treated again before
It
goes?
does actually. From there, it will go to our conditioning facility. So it will go through the same conditioning that our groundwater goes through.
Okay, and the injection wells, you said we're gonna go in around the golf course wells, or are they gonna be?
Our
distributed?
extraction wells are around the golf course. The injection needs to be a certain distance away, and the way the regulations read is it's 2 months of travel time. So you basically need to look at the aquifer and how fast the water is traveling. So for us, it's going to be a little bit further out, probably down maybe in the auto center area.
And the idea is that by injecting it and extracting it 2 months later, there happens to be that materials, bacteria, whatever, are further filtering.
Correct.
And one last one, what are the discharge rates looking like to the outfall and to groundwater?
Yeah, so currently our discharges are 4 to 5 MGD. And so that will be what we're going to be transferring over to the advanced plant.
So whatever filtration, there's gonna be a percentage that goes out into the outfall. and there's gonna be
Correct.
a percentage
Correct.
that ballparks on the percentage.
So
50-50.
yeah, what we're saying is about 1.9 MGD. That is the regulatory number that we need to hit, and that's what our consent decree says. And then the remainder will go to the advanced plant. And then for phase 2, we would take that 1.9 and add that to the advanced plant.
We had one more question. We do have.
Yeah. What's gonna happen with the polishing ponds if you go to a zero conversion into the estuary? What will happen to the polishing ponds?
Well, 0 to 0.5. And so right
It
now
goes to
we,
a zero condition.
yeah.
0 to 0.5, it goes to a zero condition.
Yeah, annual average. And so right now, we don't necessarily see an impact to the polishing ponds. Those can continue to operate without necessarily going to the estuary. You can recirculate through there. So at this point, we don't necessarily see any impacts.
Are you looking at DPR in relation to IPR?
We are just keeping our eye on regulations. They unfortunately are not going to come out until the end of the year. And by the time they actually kind of go through all of the process, to make them real, we're gonna be kind of on our way. It is certainly something we're thinking about for the future, but for us, having that ability to put water into the ground and potentially store water you know, in times when, you know, maybe we have a rainy season like we did this past year, that's beneficial to us. So.
Yes.
One question, for the lawsuit, was there a specific species that was of concern with adding the water to the estuary?
Yeah, there were a number of species, and I know it was steelhead and tidewater goby, least tern, and there is one other that I don't remember. The engineer brain doesn't necessarily do well on the species and the plants. And we have a wonderful biologist who is so up on that.
All right, well. Oh, Dana. Mm-hmm.
I just had a quick question. So one of the things that usually happens when there's a lot of work going on underground is we have cultural resource monitors out to ensure that our sacred sites are protected, and in case any remains or ancestors or grave goods are discovered during a lot of the digging. I was wondering if that's needed and if you guys have really considered that.
Yes, we, oh, sorry about that.
No, you're
Yes,
right.
for our outfall site, we actually do have someone out there doing cultural monitoring for us, and it is planned to be part of our other construction.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for all the questions in person as well as those that came in online. Apologize deeply for the issues that we had with this presentation. And we'll make this presentation available. And I really do truly appreciate your patience as we figure this out on the fly. Speaking of fly, we got to move on to our next presenter. So I'd love to welcome Taylor up to discuss invasive plants and Ventura River Watershed. Meanwhile, I'm going to try to make sure Taylor's presentation doesn't fail. So with that.
I'm happy to advance the slides from this computer, Jamie, like along.
I don't need you to do that. But I appreciate the offer. At least I don't think. All right, and hoping. For you. Okay. Yeah.
All right, my name is Taylor Wallace. I work for the County of Ag in the Weed Management Division. I work under John Bell, my deputy, and I will be presenting on iNaturalist today. Within our office, we can mainly use iNaturalist for invasive weeds in all areas of the county, but I'm going to focus on some watershed ones today. So for my presentation outline, we're going to go over the ecology and early detection of invasive plants, how you can help ID plants and be a citizen scientist with iNaturalist, and then some invasive species you'll see in the watersheds and other areas of Ventura County. So as you know, there's many different ecosystem types in Ventura County. We have a pretty wide range, and all of these areas are affected by invasive weeds in some form. And mainly today we'll be focusing on the watershed.
We have quite a few natives that have come out this past year from the super bloom and all that rain we got. And these are just a few examples of some beautiful natives we had found. So I'm going to go through some key terminology and compare and contrast and give you a deeper explanation. So native is obviously a species that's evolved in the area. Our typical natives are coastal live oaks, some California poppies, some Mariposa lilies, things like that. The non-natives tend to be a species that arrives in the area and did not evolve in the system. So a lot of them landscape plants, rosemary, ivy, manzanita, arbutus, things like that. And then an invasive tends to be a non-native species that outcompetes other species and can cause harm. And not all non-native species are invasive. So like the landscape ones I had described, not necessarily all of them can be invasive and take over the ecosystem or habitat. So in this photo, we have some examples of some invasive weeds that are in California, not necessarily in our area, but you can see that they're a major threat to biodiversity. The photo on the left with the yellow, that is a weed that we found locally recently called stinknut. And as you can see, it took over this meadow completely, crowded out all the natives. On the right, one of them you probably see in the watershed is tamarisk. This one commonly comes in and affects erosion, causes a lot of native habitat degradation, and it can also be a major fire problem. And then Cape ivy, I don't believe we have any in the area yet, but there is some in other areas in California. It's a threat for native habitat, but it's also toxic to animals and then the fish in the water. So recently we had a professor, Laura Meyerson from the University of Rhode Island, do a talk for our September weed management area meeting about the alien species assessment for the UN. And these are some of the facts that she had offered in her presentation. Hers was very insightful on a world scale, but obviously this can impact us on a smaller scale as well. So this is the main graph we use within our office. And when we're targeting weeds within our office, we tend to do the first column. So on your far left, it's the proactive management, and that's the eradication column, because when it's introduced or it's early detection, it's still a small number or a small stand that we can go in and either map it and identify it, or reach out to a group, agency, whoever may be in that area, and be able to have them get it out and remove it effectively before it takes over. And once it gets into those other two columns, it tends to be obviously a bigger problem. It causes public awareness, and it creates like dense stands where it's almost impossible to get rid of it. So now we're going to go through iNaturalist, the app itself, and how you can use it as a citizen scientist. So citizen scientists have been around actually for quite some time. We use it mainly as data collection, data analysis, and it can be great for advocacy and policy work, depending on what your group is going for. And it's a great thing for outreach, actually, for community and public interest. So the app itself is an ID map for biodiversity, and you can use it for native or non-native species. Within our office, we mainly use it for weeds, but you can use it for plants, animals, birds, bugs, fungus, everything. And there are multiple different agencies and groups use it, so anybody in here can use it professionally or personally. So for using the app,
So for using the app, you can use it on your phone or on the website. I find it pretty user-friendly. It's a free app on your phone. You sign up, you make an account, and you can basically do it all on your phone, or you can take photos and go back to your computer at a later time and kind of organize your photos, organize your findings. And you're basically able to add identifications, you can add photos, you can add as many details as you want, it doesn't hurt. So as you can see in that photo on the right, it's this little green bird in the top left corner of the phone screen. And like I said, it's a free app. You sign up and make an account. You can take photos on it, or you can use photos from your gallery you already have. And when you load the photos, there'll be a little column under that says, what did you see? And so if you're not sure what it is, or you're unfamiliar with just plants in general, it'll make suggestions for you, or it'll base it off of the photos you provide. And you can either leave it blank, or you can just put something that you think it looks close to. It'll have pictures to kind of compare. And date, time, and location will automatically be added. For us, that's a crucial thing because we want to know where you found it, the date and the time, just so we can track it maybe in its life stage, or maybe, you know, if you found it 2 months ago, is it going to be dying off and senescing now, or is it going to be flowering? Something for you to consider. And you can upload your observations. And just like a few tips, multiple photos is always helpful. Different angles, different life stages, plant parts, flowers and fruit always help. It helps to ID it really well, not only for us, but for other people. And you can also do a habitat photo, so you can take a step back and maybe do a wide angle shot, or do, you know, a general area, because if it's only one plant, it's going to stand out, or maybe it could be 20 plants that look similar to something next to it. And there is an option to do a captive or cultivated organism. We don't tend to use it, but I know other groups may use it. If it's in like a landscape setting, or if it's in maybe a nursery. Yeah. And it will be uploaded to a public forum on iNaturalist. So with that, it will be posted for basically all the world to see, and to kind of give feedback or give you ideas of what it may or may not be. I would say nobody is an expert on there, but there may be. So if somebody comes back and says, oh no, it's not this, it's this, you know, no hard feelings. It's just people giving you ideas and suggestions. So this is kind of an idea of what the web page would look like. Like I said, it's going to have that public forum, which is this column on the left. And then there's kind of like blogs and different pieces on the right-hand side that people just share projects they've worked on, share different things that they've found in the field. And at the top is where you can actually create this thing called a BioBlitz. So as your group, or, you know, a community group, a school, a neighborhood, anything, you can create a BioBlitz, which you can basically invite friends, family, members of the community, people of interest to come to a certain area on a certain date at a certain time, and go out there and help us find as many weeds as you can find, anything, or identify trees that are in the area. Help us map things to get a general consensus of what's out here. And it's great for community engagement, but it's also great for educational purposes on many age groups. So like I said, for us, we tend to use it for new and uncommon invasive species. We collaborate as well with CalFlora, which is another type of mapping and ID
website. And we tend to grab things off of iNaturalist and move them to CalFlora because CalFlora is more of a expert field in that one. A lot more research and scientific backing needs to be used for that one. So here is for the BioBlitz. So you can create your project on there and then you can advertise it widely in other sources and invite community members to join. We have offered them in the past. We have worked with California Native Plant Society to also offer them, Ventura Land Trust, some of our sponsors and groups in the weed management area. And it's, like I said, very user-friendly, very simple to kind of get people to volunteer and go out there and help you find some stuff. We did one, I think, in August with California Native Plant Society, and then they tend to just do like a hiking trail. And one person that hosts it is usually an expert maybe on native plants or native species and kind of guides people out there and kind of helps them, you know, on hand with IDing things or maybe how to use the app. And also, you know, just the layperson's eye if they're not familiar with things, helping ID. So like I said, the California Academy of Sciences also offers a kind of guide and resource on how people can create the BioBlitz, how they can utilize them, and maybe get people involved with wanting to use them. So now I'm going to talk about the key invasive species in Ventura County, mainly focusing on weeds within the watersheds. So we still use this graph, like I said. We are targeting that first column so that we can get the weeds out or properly removed by other groups before the seed bank builds up and also before it spreads any further. Within our weed management area, we have this list that we work with LA County on, early detection, rapid response, which is related to that column I just showed you. We tend to work with them on certain weeds based off the CDFA rating, which is on the second to right-hand column. We base our findings off of that list as well. We tend to target A-rated and Q-rated. The state has a few different ratings, and I don't really get into the definitions of them, but LA County also does a similar thing. But this is our last list. We're making a current update as of probably a few weeks ago. So we'll have an updated one available pretty soon. So one of our weeds that you might see is spotted knapweed. We actually haven't had it too much within this area. It has been spotted up in Point Reyes Peak, but some people within my group, a few of my colleagues, have actually been IDing it, mapping it, but also going up and removing it. Skeleton weed, this one's also a pretty recent one. It's a noxious weed on the CCR 4500 list. We've only had one location so far within Ventura County. It's on the Palo Camado Trail in the Santa Monica Mountains. Me and a few other colleagues had gone out there and mapped it recently and ID'd it. And then the Santa Monica Mountain Range Native Reserve, those people are going to be the ones going in either spraying it or removing it. Stinknet, me and my colleague John Bell have been kind of keeping an eye on this one. This one's a new one that popped up. We found it at a private nursery recently, and my colleague Marco has been working with them to get it removed and reduce the seed bank. But also my colleague John Bell had found it recently off the side of the road on Los Cosas in Camarillo. This one's a concern for watershed because, as you can see, those seed heads, there's a million bajillion of them, and they can spread by wind, rain, water, animals. I mean, yeah. And once it dries up, there's a huge fire risk, huge.
onion weed. This one's a personal project I had worked on. This one we found had been popping up in a lot of the residential areas where the Thomas fire came through. It seems to come up in vacant lots and in areas where the soil's been slightly disturbed, but mostly fire disturbed. I believe Ventura Land Trust had found it on some of their properties in Ventura. And then this tends to spread as well with the little tiny seed heads with rain, water, flooding. And we're worried about this one kind of getting into waterways simply because it spreads so easily along roadways. Russian knapweed. This one we have, I believe, 2 locations. One of them is in Port Hueneme, and we've had a successful project using a biocontrol wasp, I believe in collaboration with UC Santa Barbara. It's been helping control the seed head and targeting the seeds before they develop and before they spread. And we have another location in Apache Canyon off Highway 33 on private land that we've been working with Los Padres on. Carnation spurge, this one, as you can see in the middle, that's right off of Highway 101 going south, right off of Seaward and Ventura. This one we're worried about too because it's been popping up a little bit more on the side of roadways lately, probably within the past year or 2. And we're worried that it's going to be spreading more rapidly also into waterways, just from gutters and drainage and flooding. We've been working with Caltrans to kind of get some of this removed, at least on the roadway sides, but there's definitely a concern for it getting into the Ventura watershed as well. Arundo, everybody knows about Arundo. Major problem, major ag, fire, water, erosion, every problem. It's everywhere and we don't want it. We tend to still try and keep track of this, even though, you know, it's spread. But we have worked a little bit with the Santa Clara River Watershed in terms of their removals and seeing what they've worked on and the efforts they've made. I'm pretty sure Ojai Valley Land Trust has been very busy with all their projects trying to get it out rid of it as well. Tamarisk, this one's obviously very important as well for the watershed. It's been affecting for flooding and also erosion. This one we don't currently have a project on, but we do have hopes that if people are seeing it, you know, in the upper watersheds and the Los Padres and things like that, they can help map it and ID it for us. Spanish broom. This one is not an uncommon noxious weed. It's been found pretty abundantly on upper Highway 33 and also in some of the Santa Monica Mountains bordering LA County. I know for the upper Highway 33, we worked with Caltrans on that one to get a lot of that removed. I haven't been up there lately, but I know that they had done a pretty good effort. It was really overwhelming at some point. This is a recent one that our retired Commissioner Ed Williams had worked on, I believe, either this past year or the year before. The state of California gave this a B rating, which means it's up to the commissioner's discretion for removal or for banning altogether. The tropical milkweed had been essentially banned from Ventura County for sale or propagation, mostly because when it flowers like this and the monarch butterflies feed off of it, it affects their growth pattern of their wings, but also their flight pattern. And it's not necessarily the plant itself, it's like a protozoa that lives in the plant and helps the butterfly feed off of it. So within our county, this plant's banned, at least for growth and propagation. We don't go out and remove it, but we still kind of alert people if we see it or if we, you know, find it in a nursery. And then these 2 photos are just some photos from our annual Weed and Wildflower Show that we have every year. This past year, we had it at the Santa Paula Ag Museum, and we're planning to have it again this coming year at the same location around April Earth Day. We collaborated with Ventura Land Trust, California Native Plant Society, and UC Extension Office. So if anyone is interested in being involved, or maybe just have some ideas and maybe some interest, you can contact me, or you can contact my colleague, John Bell, if you have any questions. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Taylor. Do we have any questions from the live audience? Vivaan.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. That was really wonderful. Russian knapweed is such a beast.
Yeah.
We've got about a 1.5 acre patch of it at Oaktober also.
Oh, okay.
What the wasp thing terrifies me, I'll be honest. What else have you tried for control? What is the size of the population of fish?
So for us, we don't technically treat it. We kind of resource it out to different groups or other entities. I believe for the Port Hueneme site, it was mainly just the gall that was the effort made, because it is private land. So it's not public land that we could go out and pull it up ourselves. The Patchy Canyon, I have not been to that site. That is also private land, but I believe my colleague is working with the owner on that to also use the biocontrol. So we haven't looked at other methods, but obviously other methods could be used. Yeah, you can reach out to John about that too. He might have a little more background on maybe other resources you might need to use.
You might also want to check in with Tom Dudley. Tom Dudley may be the one. Yeah. So he might be able to set you at ease with that, but I'm not so sure. Well, since he's swapped.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Perfect. There was another question.
Yeah, for the iNaturalist app, when people post photos, is there any way it's there's geolocating going on? When somebody does post something they see in your list, how do you guys go about that?
Yeah, so there's definitely geolocation with it. The thing is, people will have to post it to the public forum. So usually people can opt for geo-privacy if it's maybe private land or something they don't want people to go find, which that's at their discretion, obviously. But when it comes for us, we tend to check it, at least the app itself, we check it maybe once or twice a week. And if we see anything on there that's public and that people provide a location, we'll tend to either go out there personally and check it and see, hey, is it here? Maybe they put the wrong location, maybe their phone wasn't, locating right. We tend to use it for the mapping purpose first. And then if we go out there and find it, then we kind of take the next step to either remove it or, figure out who owns it, what's going on in the area, talk to people, figure out what's going on.
I got one more for you. As far as going somewhere to find out about financial assistance, physical assistance, and possible permit streamlining for rundle removal on private property, are there resources for those kinds of things?
Yeah, it depends where you are, I think. So are you in Ventura or Santa Cruz? Ventura. I think a lot of that would probably maybe, depending if you're in city or county limits, there's a lot of different funding and resourcing. I know CAL FIRE is doing a lot, City Fire. I know the Ohio Valley Land Trust has a lot of different funding resources, probably Department of Fish and Wildlife. I bet you there's a bunch of entities. I don't know that county has anything. We do not in the ag department offer anything that I know of, but there might be other entities within the county that do.
Everybody's been trying to get rid of it a long time, so you'll find plenty of people to
There's a lot of people interested.
to help you with that. Thank you,
Thank
Taylor.
you.
Thank you so much. Mason, I didn't see any questions online. Did you? Okay. All right. Yeah, exactly. So we are at the end of our set of presentations, but we have Lynn that we want to hear from before we all go. And so, Lynn, are you able to share?
Good morning, everyone. Lynn Rodriguez, Watersheds Coalition of Ventura County. Can you hear me all right? Hearing me? Nope.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Hey, Lynn. Was that a yes?
Yes.
Oh, ooh, feedback. Okay. Yeah, I just have a couple of announcements that I wanted to make and a couple of updates. The first update, for those of you that don't know, the Watersheds Coalition of Ventura County is shifting over to a new host. It was hosted for 20 years over at the County of Ventura, and it is now transitioning over to being hosted by the Calleguas Municipal Water District. But basically, they're the fiscal agent and nothing else changes. We still have a steering committee with governance set up, representation, 2 members from each of the watersheds. So there really shouldn't be any big difference in what you see in the program. However, there is kind of a vision process going on with the steering committee based on the survey results that we received earlier this year, and considering kind of what's the appropriate direction to go in now with the IRWM program, since we don't have any IRWM specific funding on the horizon in the near future. There were some bonds, climate bonds, that were considered in the legislature this year, and they've been tabled until next year. So we may see a water bond or climate and water bond on the ballot in November of next year. But currently there's nothing out there. So nevertheless, there's a lot of other funding out there, and many of the projects that people are looking for funding for, I know lots of applications have been going in around the county, and many or some of those projects are probably listed in the IRWM plan or the watershed management plan. So there's still a lot of relevance and relationship between IRWM and all the different water funds that are out there right now. So what will change is my role as the project manager. I'll be shifting over to a contract with Calleguas, and my email address is going to change, and I will be sending out the new address as soon as possible. Currently it's lynn.rodriguez@ventura.org. I'm going to be opening up a new Outlook account so that I can keep all of my groups and all my emails. And it'll probably be something like lynn.rodriguez WCVC or something similar to what it was, but I'll be sending that information out to everybody. In the meantime, if you email me, you'll still be able to reach me at that address, and then I'll have a forwarding address for about 90 days for folks. If they email me, they'll get the new email address, a new location for that. Also wanted to report, there's a couple things in the chat that I posted. The California Water Plan, sort of the blueprint for water in California that gets updated every 5 years. The current update is out for public review right now. I believe I sent out a message to all of our entities in the county about that. The plenary session, the state held, a 2-day session up in Sacramento to review the results of that. And part of that was also, for the water plan update, I did post on the website or on the chat how you can access the water plan. And there's instructions on that state website for how to comment if you're interested in providing comments. The 3 themes of this water plan are equity, watershed resilience, and climate resilience. So they've kind of focusing on those 3 areas. And those sections are really interesting. There's a new section on tribal engagement, section 6, tribal and equity. And then there's also a whole section on watershed resilience. And we'll be hearing more about that in the coming months. There'll be some funding available to watershed groups around the state over the next couple of years, actually, to work on watershed resilience and to build on the work that IRWM has started in all of the, in the watersheds around the state. So also at this event, we got to see the new video that was produced by DWR celebrating 20 years of IRWM. And I highly recommend watching this film. I've seen snippets of it, but I hadn't seen the whole thing. They went to 8 regions across the state and did an in-depth look at projects that have been implemented and talking to people, interviewing people involved. And it's pretty incredible. Uh-oh. Is everybody hearing that feedback? it's pretty incredible what's been accomplished with all the funds that have been allocated over all the many years of IRWM grants. So I recommend taking a look at that. It's, like I said, 40 minutes. There's a YouTube channel at the state that has this video on it. So when you get a chance, take a look. There's a lot to celebrate for all the work that's been done. And there were a couple of projects highlighted in this county. They only picked 2, and unfortunately, neither of them were in the Ventura River, but one in the Santa Clara River and one in the Cayugas Creek. So recommend you look at that. We did have a general membership meeting last Wednesday. Some of you probably participated in that, and got a pretty good overview of things that are happening in the other end of the county, or actually all through the county, about the intertie projects across all the watersheds, but also some of the work going on in the Cayugas Municipal Water District, to actually working with the other 2 water wholesalers in the county to improve regional reliability of water, and just to move ahead with the next generation of water projects. I think that covers all of my announcements. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? Any questions? Any questions from anyone in the room?
All right. Well, thank you.
I don't see any hands raised online either. So yeah, that was great to just learn a little bit about IRWM. IRWM has been around for a long time. It's been a wonderful program for all of our watersheds. We heard about a couple of projects today that were actually funded through the IRWM process, and the watershed councils have been deeply involved in that entire process. So it's sad occasion to see it go, but it's also time for it to evolve to something to serve future needs. So with that, thank you, Lynn. I appreciate the update. And what I'm going to do as I close this session out, first I want to thank everyone for their extraordinary patience with all the issues that we had today. We'll get those corrected for the next meeting. I will also upload all the links to the events and the notices from earlier today. And once that's posted, then I'll formally close out the meeting. But thank you at this time. The presentations are all finished, and the last little tidbit will be those links. So thank you everyone for your attendance, your participation. We really appreciate that. And we'll see you next time. I heard you.
All of the chat saying
You're kind of early, like, yeah. Yeah, there's always. Yeah.
Wait, you know what's really funny when you go to like this?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, it's in the chat. I can sign on.
Thank you. Great to see you.
Did you get it okay?
What's that?
Notes, so you can just paste your notes in there.
Oh, I did it already. I already had it up.
Okay, well, they're very good notes, so you should. say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.